that time again. It's time for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. My name is Deborah, and I'm coming to you from here on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, where I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I make baskets, I make jewelry. I'm trying to learn to tat. I haven't quite got there yet. I'll try any craft once and twice if I like it. I am also a university professor of physics and astronomy, where I teach classes to physics majors, to general education majors, and also do planetarium shows for school groups and involved in activities with women in STEM. And last but not least, I am a farmer. I am a third-generation family farmer here on my land where my family has lived for over a century. I raise grass-fed beef cattle, I raise horses, I have heritage poultry, I have show quality rabbits, and I'm a retirement home for a herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost, and Princess Penny the pot-bellied pig. And as you can tell from my sweet little furry co-host Willie here, I am fur kid mom to 13 dogs, 7 indoor cats, and an undetermined number of outside barn cats. So if any or of all of that sounds interesting to you, come on along as we do episode number 49 of Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. Okay, if you're looking for me on social media, my farm Facebook page is the same as my YouTube channel name. It is Buckthorn Farms, and I post things about what's going on the farm. I share farm-related news articles and blog posts and just little tidbits like that on there. Lots of animal pictures and things like that from what's going on out here. I am also on Ravelry and on Instagram as Doc Firewoman, where you can follow me and see more pictures of my animals and the farm and things that I'm working on. I'm probably most active on Instagram. You can also find me on Twitter, but I warn you, my political leanings are liberal democratic, and if that kind of stuff gives you heartburn, you probably don't want to follow me on Twitter, because we getting ramped up to talk about some stuff on the Twitter, let me tell you. Because there's some things going on in this state that I'm not real happy about right now. But anyway, so also there is a Ravelry group for the podcast, which is probably what's the most important to you if you're listening to this, where I post information about make-alongs and giveaways and general chit-chat. You can check it out there. Willie, what have you done to yourself? You got a sore spot. He's got a boo-boo. You alright? Okay. Okay, so anyway, so you can find us there, and you can enter our giveaways. You can enter any make-alongs that you would like to. I'm fairly flexible on the make-along stuff. So we don't have any giveaways currently going on right now. I just closed the 2 that I had going on, but I might do another giveaway later in the fall for a pattern that I'm going to tell you about in future crafting. So anyway, let me tell you just briefly about some things that are going on. First of all, I want to make a special mention again this week for Cancer Kickin Critters. My good friend Shirley is involved with them, and she creates a lot of the little creatures that they give to kids who are undergoing treatment for cancer, and they are in need of critters. I will post their website information below, and they like knitted and crocheted critters, and you can either make a complete critter, or you can get together and make some kits for the kids to make their critters. There's a link on their website about how you can help, and you can go there and find out all the details about that. They've given away over 2,000 kits or critters to kids, so it's a really great organization. It is a totally grassroots organization, and I think it's a wonderful cause, so I encourage you to go check that out. The first thing that I'll mention is we are doing a pattern swap for the winter holidays. I decided to do that this year instead of trying to have people mail a physical package. So if you'd like to participate in the pattern swap, there is a thread on Ravelry. It's the price is $5 to $10, and I will pair you up with somebody on December 1st, and y'all can switch patterns from your wish list. So make sure you update your wish list for things that you would like to have. And make a new fiber friend. I know Kirsty from Grianaig Creations is thinking about doing that also, so if you want to get in on 2 pattern swaps, you can follow her Ravelry group as well. On our make-alongs that are currently active, we have 5 currently active make-alongs. Those are the I Like Big Shawls and I Cannot Lie, that I'm co-hosting with Vanessa from A Historian Knits. Creature Feature, which I'm co-hosting with Laura from A Crocheting Whovian. Never Have I Ever, which is things you've never done before, techniques or whatever. Kit or Get Her Done, which we all know I have an issue with kits. So all you got to do is watch a couple episodes and you'll see that I love me some kits. And then the Farmer's Almanac make-along, where it's a theme each month. I write up a post about things from that month. You can go read that and find out more. So you can go there and find out where you can participate in these different make-alongs. There's different giveaway time frames, but at the end of the year for the FO objects, there will be a physical prize given away for all of the make-alongs. So you will get something at the end if you like winning physical prizes instead of pattern prizes. There's potential for that as well. Starting on October 15th, I'm going to be doing a make-along for Logan from Leon Alexander Yarns' Pie Shawl pattern. It's my party and I'll pie if I want to. And that starts October 15th and runs until March 15th, which is Pie Day. So be on the lookout for that. It's a good way if you've got some fingering weight yarn that you don't know what to do with, put it together and make you a big old shawl. No, we're not having that. Wally's in here too, and Willie's very jealous. No, we're not doing that. There's enough room for everybody. You don't be so jealous. You don't be such a jealous heart. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to say about make-alongs for this week. I've got quite a few things that I want to talk about today, so I want to make sure that we leave enough time for that. I'll also mention I'm recording this on October the 11th, which is National Coming Out Day, and so for those of you in the LGBTQIA+ community, I welcome you to our family here in the Diary of the Physicist Farmgal group, and know that this is a safe place for you. So I wanted to say that, and for those of you who have been able to take that step, congratulations, and for those of you still not able to, I hope that someday we live in a world where you feel safe to do that. Okay, so we're going to move on and talk about finished objects, and I have some this week. Yay! Okay, so I have some finished objects to show you. Some of them are quite epic finished objects, and some of them are less so, but I wanted to show. I am making hats for the UCA Warming Tree project, and so I have a friend who was working in inventory control at different big box stores around the area, and she would always give me a heads up when they had yarn on dirt cheap free clearance and would bring me yarn or would tell me where it was at, and I would go get it. And I've had it stashed away for a while, and I decided this would be a great use of it. So I have been making beanies. This is the basic bulky beanie, and let me make sure I get the person's name right that this pattern is. It's a fairly straightforward recipe that you could come up with yourself if you wanted to, but I just like to have a little guideline to remember how to do my increases. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, and this pattern is by Rhonda Mole of Umbalka Designs. Alright, so far I have made 4. My goal is to make 2 per week to donate. So far I've made 4. I've got the ends woven in on all of them except the first one that I made, because I'm trying to get in the practice of when I finish them, weave in the ends. So I've just been using, I believe this was Lion brand yarn. This one and this one was Lion brand yarn, and it's just a nice little marled yarn there. I had enough of these left over that I think I can probably make some scrappy. Oh, I know I've got enough left for scrappy hats. So I'm trying to make them in a variety of sizes. What is happening is our library is going to have a coat tree starting on November the 18th, where if you don't have a warm coat or a warm hat or gloves or whatever, or a hat, scarf rather, you can come in and get one, no questions asked. So I've got these two. Then my friend Carol gave me this mystery skein of yarn. I don't know what this is. It's kind of a chenille feeling yarn, but I thought it would make a cute and warm hat. And then this is some big box store yarn as well. I think I got these on like super almost free clearance as well. So I'm going to try to continue to make about 2 per week to donate. They work. I can make one of these in an evening. So, you know, I try to sit down in the evening or meeting crochet is really, it's really good for that too, because once you get through your increase rows, which is only about 4 rows, then you're just going around and around, and I keep trying it on to make sure it fits. So I've got those finished. Okay, and then I got another FO finished. I have finished Newton the Fennec Fox. Yay! Okay, isn't he sweet? This is a pattern by Kate Hancock. And she writes some really great patterns. It was very straightforward and easy to follow. He's made in pieces and then you sew him together. I love his foot pads. I think those are adorable. The eyes are from Suncatcher Eyes. You can find them on Instagram, and they make beautiful custom painted, hand painted eyes. If you want something a little extra special. So I just used up some scrap acrylic yarn that I had for Newton, and I think he is just too cute. As cute as can be, and he will definitely be headed to the fair next year. I got to going through my fair stuff and was startled to realize I left my little felt pumpkin basket up there, and I was all distressed. But the lady who is the superintendent, she saves things that gets left behind, because she actually had a jar of my pickled jalapeno peppers from the last year that I forgot to pick up. I thought I had gotten everything. And I thought I had picked up everything, but this lady got to talking to me while I was gathering up my stuff, and I got distracted. So I messaged, her name is Darla. I messaged her, and she said she'd meet me next week, and she did see it in there, so I'll be able to get him back. I was all like, oh no, I gotta get him. Okay, my other 2 finished objects are my more epic finished objects. As promised, I have finished the Picot bind off on my Gothic Angel shawl, and it is now blocked in all of its lacy glory. Okay, this is the Gothic Angel by Bowie Knits. It is a lace weight, heavily beaded shawl. I think there's about 800 beads on it, and it's one of those that the proof is in the pudding of the blocking. All right, I finished it. I got it bound off with a Picot bind off. And I was like, okay, it's done, yay. And I was like, okay. And then I went straight away to block it because I wanted to see what it was going to look like. And when I finished it, I thought, I will never make another lacy lace shawl like this that's so heavily beaded. And when I blocked it, I was a convert. I went, oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. So the blocking is what makes the little points here. You have to block it very aggressively. It takes a lot of pins to pin out those little points there, but it makes all the difference in how this thing looks. So I am very proud of this. It was definitely a learning experience. So I'm very pleased with how it's turned out, and I definitely will be making another one. I just need a little bit of a break. This yarn is West Texas Sunset by Kimmery Knitnacks, and what I love about it, and I was showing it to her when she came up for her trunk show at the yarn crawl, if you look at it, it starts out lighter, and then as it goes toward the tips, it gets darker, like a fade, and she's like, that's so cool, I didn't realize it did. It wasn't intentional. So that is Gothic Angel is complete. Yay! 1 year. I started this thing on October 1st, and I finished it on September, I blocked it on September 30th. So it is done. Stick a fork in it. So I am very proud of how that looks. I don't know if that will go in the fair or not, because I might make another one that would be just as pretty. Okay, then last but not least, my last completed object is I have finished the little sweater. I have finished the Flax Light. This is for my friend Sasha for her baby boy Samuel, who is coming just any day now. I have completed that. It is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. It's a nice, I did it because, first of all, I wanted to make her a nice gift for her baby because she is a good friend. But I also wanted to learn sweater construction. I figured this was a good way to do it. So this yarn is Lucky Ducklings by Expression Fiber Arts in their Resilient Sock base. Okay, it's 100% superwash merino, and I just think it is the cutest little sweater ever. So I have completed the Flax Light. Yay me, my first sweater. Never have I ever made a sweater, so that was my first sweater. So those are all my finished objects for this week. So now we're going to talk about works in progress. Okay, I have some works in progress to show you. I'll start with my plastic canvas project. I'm still carrying it around in a bag from the knitting store. But I have completed the work on the pumpkin, and I'm starting to do the back stitching. You can see, let's see, where did I start on it at? Or did I start on it? I know I started on it somewhere. Oh, there it is. Barely started on the back stitching, but I have completed the work on the pumpkin. All right, I've got to do the back stitching, and the only back stitching that's on this is really around the flowers. Then I'm going to cut it out, and I'll whip stitch all the way around it, and then there is a little sign that goes along the bottom that says welcome. Let me see if I can find the actual picture of what this looks like here, and I'll show you. So when it's all done, it'll look like that. Okay, so I've still got to do the stem, and I've still got to do the welcome sign, but you can see the back stitching is just around the flower parts and then around the lettering on the sign. So I may actually work on that tonight. I'm kind of in the mood to work on that, so that may be what I work on. I haven't worked on that this week. So yeah, so that's my plastic canvas. I'm making some progress on that. Okay, then I am doing the Amigurumi School of Magic. It is a mystery crochet along. It is by Ariali Design and Irene Strange. So it's Amigurumi School of Magic. You get 5 patterns for 5 different objects. The first one was released last Tuesday. The first was October 1st. And then each Tuesday well, I don't know if it's each Tuesday, but there's one released each week. Now, if you're doing this and you've already got it, you get the complete object each week, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything for anybody. But the first week's object is a black hat. And it's actually a hat that will fit you if you want it to. I'm not so worried about that. I think I'm just going to make kind of a display with mine when I complete it. I think it'd be a nice little sort of focal point display. But I wanted something besides just a plain black hat, so I'm using this kind of tweedy marled yarn to make my hat. I'm about halfway done, I think, with the hat. I'm going to work on, I've been working on that. This has kind of been my before class project. I just started it this week, so I haven't gotten very far, but I've only put about 4 hours in it. So anyway, so that is the black hat from the Amigurumi School of Magic crochet along this year. So we've already got the next item, but I haven't gotten around to making it yet. As usual, I am behind on my stuff. So I've got that just in a tote bag that I got from Countess Blaze. So anyway. Alrighty, my next work in progress is in this adorable little bag. My friend Vanessa gave me this for my birthday, and she said it was by one of her favorite bag makers, and I have lost the tag for whoever it was that made it, so I apologize, Vanessa's favorite bag maker. I don't know who you are. Well, I've got something stuck in this that I should have showed in FOs. Anyway, I stuck this in there. I made a quick little washcloth. I was practicing my Tunisian crochet and learning how to do the simple stitch and the extended simple stitch. So I just made a little washcloth real quick, and I'm going to put that in with a little baby sweater. So I'm going to leave that out so that I'll remember to put that up. But in this little bag, I am making the curly horse hat, which is a pattern available from Cynthia Craft of Sabito Farms. Okay, the curly horse hat is a pattern you have to buy from them directly, although it does link from Ravelry, but you have to buy it from them directly. So it does not go in your Ravelry library, unfortunately. But it's a colorwork hat, and I am making that out of I don't want to mess that up. Some Cloudborn DK in dark gray, and then this is a leftovers from it's a Myrtle kind of day hat that I made this summer, or no, last fall rather. And this is a yarn that I dyed in a dyeing class with Logan from Leon Alexander Yarns. So I'm using those two together. I'm just starting the color work horses. See if I can get this fiddled around where I can show it to you here. Okay, I'm just starting the color work horses, so I'm on the 3rd row, I think. And what I'm finding, I had to blow the chart up because the way it's printed on here, it's so small, it's hard to keep track. And then also what I'm finding that I'm doing is I'm writing out for the plus signs. I didn't need to, but for these rows where we're starting the horses, I'm finding that I'm needing to write out like 3 gray, 2 color, 4 gray to 1 color, so on and so forth, just to keep track of where I'm at. As I get further into the pattern, I can kind of see how the blocks, how the pieces fit together, so it's not so hard, but that's as far as I am on that. So far, I think my floats look all right. I'm pretty pleased with how it's working up. I just hope it's big enough. The pattern calls for 2s. I'm knitting it on 1s because we know that Deborah is a loose knitter. So, if not, it'll fit somebody else. But I really want it to fit me. So I may make it fit me even if it doesn't. So anyway, I'm just barely getting started on that. But I am doing a color work hat. So yay me. Anyway, so I took it to our copy machine at work and blew it up really big so that I can count. And I kind of marked the grid off with fluorescent highlighter. There's probably 1,000 computer app things or phone app things that would help me, but I like paper. When I'm knitting, I like to mark things off with a pen. There's something very satisfying about doing that. And plus it helps me keep track. So I'm going to be old school and belligerent, I guess. Okay. In my Mauve's bag from, there was a prize I won from the Knick Knack Knits podcast, I have the Undercurrent Socks by Kirsty from Grianaig Creations. This is her first sock pattern, and she is currently hosting a knit along for this. So I am working on those. I am I think I'm on the, just starting the 3rd repeat of the patterning here. Okay, so I haven't put a lot of time in on these yet, but I'm getting there. I'm knitting these on size 0 Leicas because with the yarn overs, I was afraid they would be loose because I'm a loose knitter. And in fact, I frogged the Fernway socks because I could tell they were just going to be too big and loose. So I'm going to go back and try to pay better attention to my tension. I am knitting this out of a sock blank from Lamb Woman Knits. Okay, so out of a rainbow sock blank. I thought that would be really pretty. That's Lamb Woman Knits. She's got an Etsy store, and this is her smooth sock. So Lamb Woman Knits. All right. So that knit along goes, or that knit along, I believe, goes until the end of November. It's going to be a really pretty pattern. I think as I get into it, it's starting to develop already. I've actually never knit just a plain pair of vanilla socks. Every pair of socks I've ever made is a patterned sock. And I kind of like that. I like the idea of having something to engage me. Although I'm sure there's something nice about just being able to go around and around and around. My changes shawl I will show because I haven't shown it in a while. I haven't put a lot of work into it. This is the changes shawl by Knitting Expat, which looks like that. I haven't put a lot of work into it since the last time you saw it, but just in the effort to stay current. I think the last time you saw it, it was down here, and so I've put that much effort into it. I'm just working on the center panel. Frankly, I needed something a little more beefy to work on for a while, which is why I like making these hats after making that lace weight shawl. But I am starting to feel drawn back toward this. For some reason. I want to finish it because I want to see what it looks like. Plus, it would be nice if I had a big shawl for my own big shawl make-along, wouldn't it? The last thing I'm making is in, oh, I'm sorry, that bag, in case you're interested, this is from April 9 Designs. This is one of her medium wedge bags, I think. April 9 Designs Charlotte. She's on Etsy, and she's been a good supporter of my podcast. In my By the Bay Yarn Company bag that I got at East Texas Fiber Festival, this is a great, nice, big bag here. I am working on the Malibu Shawl by Jody Brown from the Grocery Girls. It is a very straightforward DK weight shawl. That's what it looks like all stretched out there. It's a very straightforward knit, and it's really going quickly. I am almost ready to introduce my third color. I am knitting this on great big needles with DK weight yarn, and this is just what the doctor needed. The doctor ordered after making that lace weight shawl. My little progress keeper here is from Charmed and Dangerous. It was a gift from my friend Nancy, and I am knitting this out of DK, like I said. So that's how far I am on that. I am finished with the turquoise, and now I am working with this color, and I'm getting ready to introduce my third color in about 20 rows. I think I do about 20 rows of this color, and then I introduce the third color. So the yarns I'm using for that are just a turquoise from Creative, like Crea Baby Alpaca Ative DK yarn. This is Won't Be Erased, which is from Shipwrecked Sheep, and it donates to the Trevor Project for transgendered, helpline for transgendered youth. Suicide prevention helpline called the Trevor Project, and so every skein of that went to this. This is a BFL base, and then the third color is Texas Tea from Coop Dyeworks. So that's what they look like together. I think that'll be pretty. I got this one at East Texas Fiber Festival last November, so I'm looking forward to incorporating that in. So that was the show colorway. Alright, so those are the things that I'm working on right now. And one of my students asked me this morning, she said, do you finish are you working on something different every time you're in here? Do you finish all those things? I'm like, no, I just like to switch around so I don't get bored. Like in the evenings, if I'm sitting and watching like Numbers or whatever show I'm watching, sometimes when the episode changes, I'll change what I'm working on just to kind of do my own little mini knit-a-thon. But sometimes I'm just in the mood to work on this. We did some school visits yesterday, and I let the students talk, and I just sat and knitted. It was all right. But anyway, so we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But anyway, so that's my current active whips. And we're going to talk just a little bit about future crafting. Okay, I'm not going to talk very long about future crafting this week, but I did buy my next pattern for what I want to make for the Creature Feature Magical and Mythical Creatures installment. Crafty Intentions just released a new dragon pattern, and if you bought all 4 of her elemental dragon patterns, you got a discount. So there is a water dragon, an air dragon, a fire dragon, and an earth dragon, and I was just hooked. I was like, yep, you got me. So I bought all 4 of the patterns, and the first one that I'm going to try to make is the water dragon. So there he is. I think he's about 15 inches or so tall. Her patterns are very detailed, extremely detailed, with lots of pictures, step-by-step instructions, everything, so that you can make this amigurumi. There's a lot of pieces to this little guy, and then you sew them all together. So there's a better picture of what he looks like. I think that's going to be really pretty. I decided to start with this one because I think I've already got yarn that I can use for it. So I want to try to get something finished before I start this. So I may try to get that black hat finished, and then I'll start that. But that's really the only thing I'm going to talk about in future crafting this week. So now we're going to move on and talk about science. Okay, so we're not talking about science. We're talking about acquisitions, because I guess my subconscious is saying you've been a little conspicuously consumptive lately, because it's Arkansas Yarn Crawl. And so I guess my brain was going, oh, just skip over that. But I was going to show you guys what I got. First of all, my local yarn shop will be the only yarn shop I'm able to go to during the yarn crawl. But she got her little shop t-shirts, and I was going to wear this today, but we're having kind of our first breath of fall today, so I didn't wear it. I'll save it for another day. Plus, I wanted to wear my sweatshirt that I got. It says "Never Walk Alone" on it. It's got dog paws or cat paws and horse hooves on it. I kind of like that. So anyway, so yeah, so the Arkansas Yarn Crawl happened, or is happening actually right now. And so I went to my local yarn shop, Knit Two Together, and did a little bit, because Kim from Kim Marie Knit Knacks was there doing a trunk show, and I wanted to go and see her and say hello and see what kind of pretty things she had. So the kind of pretty things that she had were, she had this really cute little project bag, and what I like about this is it has that snap top on it. Okay, and then the bags from the yarn crawl, we got a goodie bag, and you know, you got things like a name tag and all that stuff, but you also got, ooh, there's a cookie. I forgot there was a cookie in there. I'm gonna eat that cookie later. You got a cute little keychain holder here that's a yarn bowl, which I thought was really sweet. It's a little yarn bowl. And then we got a little Progress Keeper stitch marker. And then also, we're supposed to get pins. Her pins had not come in, but she just posted on Facebook that they were here, so I can go by and get those. So this is one of Kim's bags. This is her smaller size. It's a nice bag. It's lined. It's got a pocket inside, and then it's got the snappy top on it, which I thought was kind of cool. Then she had brought a lot of her yarn, and I am a fan of her yarn. I've made several things out of it, and I walked around and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I picked stuff up and I put stuff back, and I didn't know what I wanted, and that's okay too. What caught my attention very first was this. Now this is kind of a pale yellow with speckles of purple and brown, and the name of it is I Have Always Preferred Wildflowers. And this is her DK base, okay? And I thought that was just really beautiful. Now, I had picked up a fingering weight skein of this, and I had paired it up with a purple and a brown, and I thought that'd be pretty. And then I saw this, and this was the only skein of this that she had. And I was just smitten. I was like, oh my goodness, look at that. This is Polyjuice Potion, and it's in her Sparkle DK base. So I thought, well, those two work together. And then I thought, well, you need a third color if you're going to do a DK shawl, maybe. Maybe, you probably don't really, but maybe. And so I picked up this. This is Black Plum. So I thought those three would look nice together in a nice DK weight shawl, because I'm in the mood to knit some DK weight shawls after knitting all these lacy and fingering weight shawls. I need a break. So anyway, so that was my splurge at the yarn crawl. It is still going on, I believe, through this weekend. I know Nikki from the Knick Knack Knits podcast is down at Arkansas Yarn Co. And I would really like to go, but that's 2.5 hours away, and just my schedule this week is just not going to let me. Then, my friend Shirley, we'll just call her an enabler, she sent me a link and said, look at this bag that Molly Klein Designs had. She said, it's two of your favorite things. And I looked and I'm like, it surely is. It's rainbows and it's narwhals. Oh, me. So, thanks, Shirley. Because, you know, you had to get the needle keeper to go with it. Oh, me. Anyway, And then she had these little cute Halloween progress keepers. It's a little pumpkin witch there. Got to have that too for Halloween. So, yay. I needed another project bag. I was about to run out. So, anyway, that's from Molly Klein Designs. She's, is she on Etsy? I think she is. She's on Etsy. But anyway, I thought that was really cute. That's a nice little medium-sized box bottom bag there. Anyway, okay. My friend Maria got to talking about embroidery because she knows I love to collect embroidery stuff. I need to get on embroidering some stuff. But she said, hey, have you seen Little Deer Designs on Etsy? And I'm like, well, no, I haven't. You should go look. And so I bought this little embroidery panel. So he's pre-printed with the directions, and you just embroider the little fox on there. Somebody's going by loud and scared the dogs. I don't usually open, like, when you buy things, you sign up for newsletters and thus and so. And if you remember, when I first started podcasting, I got asked to do a review for Paradise Fibers, which I did, and I thought their stuff was great. And so I'm on their mailing list, and I very rarely ever open up their mailing list. But the other day, I made the mistake of opening, and they have an Isolde Teague cowl pattern whose name is escaping me at the moment. Let me see if I can look it up really quickly here. Of course, my computer has gone to sleep. Let me see if I can look this pattern name up really quickly. They had a kit for it, and it's Jameson and Smith, or no, Jameson's Shetland Heather. And let's see if I can find this quickly. Oh, it's going to be ridiculous. Oh, it's pewclean, P-Y-U-K-K-L-E-N, pewclean cowl. And they had these kits put together of this Jamieson's Shetland wool. It's a color work cowl. And I thought, well, color work, learning to do color work as I'm trying to do like with the hat, and I did the sheep love hat, and so the way you learn to do it is you just do it. And I thought, well, why not? So I couldn't have, you know, the color, sometimes it's nice to buy a kit because the colors are already put together. And the price was right. So, yeah, so that is the kit for that. It's like a Shetland style or a Fair Isle style looking cowl. It's really pretty. I also, because I want to learn to tat, I also got myself an instructional book. Because I like to watch videos, but I also like to look at pictures and diagrams and stuff. So I found this book. Alright, and the reason I like it is it's got actually like, it's got a DVD with it, and it's got a little class. It's got classes for each one, and you make some little something at the end of each class. Like you learn to make that little butterfly, and in doing so, you're learning techniques. So yeah, so I need to sit down and clear some brain space for learning to do this, because it's going to be one of those things that I need to have some focus. And so fall break is coming up, so I might look at it, pick it up then. We'll see. Then Kirsty of Grianaig Creations, who I wanted to say a special shout out to you. I hope you're feeling good. I know you've been not feeling so hot lately. But she had done what she called a Scottish collaboration with Little Bush Baby Makes for the Perth Yarn Festival, where she was sewing up tartan bags, and Little Bush Baby Makes was making these Swarovski crystal beaded progress keepers that look like Scottish thistles. And I have a soft spot for Scotland because I just have always loved going there. When I went there with Keith, and his family is still there, and I'm still very close to his sister and sister-in-law, and I love it there. It's felt like I was going home when I would go there, and we would visit the different areas. And he was from the northeast coast of Scotland, Kirsty's from over on the West Coast, I believe, but still in the Highlands. And I loved going there, and I miss it, and I really want to go back. I always said, and this kind of is silly sounding, I know, but I always said if I had to leave here and I could go anywhere, and I could take my animals and go anywhere that I wanted to go, and money wasn't an issue, I would go to the Isle of Skye. There was just something about the Isle of Skye when we were there. There's just something that really resonated inside me and reverberated inside me when I was there. And but anyway, that will never happen. But you know, if I could, I did. So she had a few of these collaboration sets left over, and she put them in her shop. So I was able to get this beautiful, really large tartan bag. I don't know which clan this tartan is for, but she might be able to tell me. And then this is the Progress Keeper. Scottish Thistle Progress Keeper. So I was able to get that, and then she very sweetly surprised me with a sweet card and a gift inside there. She sent me a copy of her pattern, which is great. I love that. And then she said, I made this bag with you in mind, and so I know you love it because it has whales on the outside and weather on the inside. Is that not awesome? So I love that. And then she dyed this beautiful yarn and gave it to me. Is that not gorgeous? That's a beautiful fade set there that I could make something out of. I think there's, trying to remember how much she said. I think they're 50-gram skeins each. So probably, what's that? Would be about 600 yards or so. About 600 yards. So that would make a pretty shawl, I think, or a cowl or something. Be beautiful together. Is that not lovely? So I thank you, Kirsty, for thinking of me. I am very grateful for your friendship, and I hope you're doing well. I am very grateful for you, and you are a sweet, kind person. So thanks. Okay, so that is all my acquisitions. I am a little bit embarrassed by how much that was, but you know, I haven't shown a lot in a while. So anyway, we're going to carry on now and talk about science. Well, Willie is curled up over there on some stuff, and he doesn't want to be part of the science segment. Oh, no, excuse me, he has changed his mind. Anyway, he knew right when that camera went on. So, at work, we're getting ready for Super Science Saturday. It's coming up on November the 2nd. Jessica from Community Connections actually came today and talked to my class about what Community Connections does. My university physics class is going to be running the stations and the ladies softball team and the Catholic Campus Ministry and the Society of Physics students and the ACS, American Chemical Society students, are all going to participate as volunteers. We've got some exciting things happening. I have a student who's really into pyrotechnics, so he's going to do a demonstration for the students, which should be exciting. I have been, as I've mentioned before, participating in an excellence in teaching track where I'm doing the diversity and inclusion track, which includes the science of learning track as well, because a lot of times the way students are successful is we have to learn how to teach. We have to teach them how to learn, and so that has been shown to let students be more successful, particularly students that are first-generation college students or students that might be coming in from less advantaged backgrounds, or are minority students who are sort of looking to find their footing at a large university, or not a large university, but at a university. So this week I attended a workshop on dyslexia in the college classroom and how it presents in adults. And then some of the teaching strategies that we can use to employ, or that we can use to make our students be more successful. I'm already doing some of them, which is kind of cool. But we also this week have been talking about some of the cool things that have been going on in the science world. The Nobel Prizes are being awarded this week. The one in physics went to a group that is looking at extrasolar planets and then also Big Bang stuff, which are kind of disparate topics. They tried to tie them together, and I'm like, y'all are just trying to make that look like something. But anyway, so the Nobel Prizes are being awarded this week, and so that's really exciting. The chemistry one went for solar power and lithium-ion batteries, which are the rechargeable batteries. Then we also had some the students went and visited schools with me this week. I actually have a student named Grace, and she contacted me when she was a freshman in high school, and we had an email correspondence, and because she was interested in astronomy, and she ended up coming to UCA, and now she's interested in doing aerospace engineering, but she wants the astronomy background as well. And she is from Dover, which is just to the west of here. So she contacted her gifted and talented teacher, and we went and spoke to the gifted and talented middle school and high school groups on Thursday. She went, Carol, who is my other research student, went, and then John went, and John is an older gentleman. Well, I should say older. He's a non-traditional student. He's not much older than I am, and he went through the Naval Academy and is a pilot, and he has decided that he wants to come back to school and get his degree in physics, and he ultimately wants to get a PhD. So he is actually doing research with my former student, who is now on our faculty, Jeremy Lusk, and they are doing research. So they all went together, and I let them talk. I just let them talk because they're students and they can, relate their experiences as students. And it was really, I was so proud of them first of all, for being so eager, and they just organized everything. All I had to do was show up. They had everything fixed up. But one of the cool things that they all said to me was the stuff that we've been talking about science literacy and communicating science to the public, that really made an impact on them about how they prepared their slideshows and the things that they wanted to talk about and everything. So I'm like, yes, yes, they're listening. So that's been really a neat thing that's been going on at work. We're at midterm. We have fall break coming up, which is, I'm glad, because, I've got some things I want to try to get done here, and the students need a little bit of a break. I mean, you can tell they're getting kind of stressed out and tired. So I'm glad that we are at fall break. So that's kind of what's been going on in that aspect. I've been talking a little bit about, with my College Physics 2 class, about volunteerism, and then about how science relates to the public at large and things like that. So that's been kind of fun, getting them to think about how science, one of the things that I talked about before was about this retrieval practice, and how this science fits into their world, into their larger world, and how physics fits in. And so I've been really trying to work at that so that they can see, why is it that they have to take this class. A lot of them come in there going, why do I have to take physics? I'm a physical therapy major, or I'm a pre-med major. And I'm like, well, it matters. It does matter, not just because we want you to take it. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on campus right now. We've got about 6 more weeks left of instruction, and then we'll be at finals. Like I said, Super Science Saturday's coming up and everything. But what I wanted to talk about, there's a couple of cool articles that came out. Of course, my computer's gone to sleep here again, so let me wake it back up. The first one is a really neat article that I saw about a Native American artist who is beading astronomical objects. So I wanted to share that with you. It's a article from, oh shoot, hang on, I can't type my password with one hand apparently. Robust passwords are hard to type one-handed. There we go. It's an article from Brain Pickings, and it's about the Native American artist Margaret Nazon. And it starts out with a really cool quote from Mariah Mitchell, who was an astronomer, a trailblazing female astronomer, and said, "I wonder that I have so long been insensible to this charm in the skies. The tints of the different stars are so delicate in their variety." she considered the stars as a collection of precious stones or colorful beads. So Margaret Nazon has started beading these beautiful, very complex beaded artworks, and I'll post a couple of pictures of them so that you can see so you can see what she's doing. And she kind of took inspiration, and I'm sure you've seen the solar system quilt that pictures get posted of, is by Ellen Harding Baker, and it was a quilt that she used to teach astronomy back in the 1800s. So it also took inspiration from Cecilia Payne, who was one of my favorite women astronomers because she studied spectroscopy, which is what I do, and she embroidered a picture of a supernova. So maybe that's why I like to embroider. But she began beading celestial objects using photographs from the Hubble Space Telescope back in 2009, and her work has been very inspirational to poets and other artists. So there's this really cool article about her on Brain Pickings, and with some up-close photographs of some of her work that I thought I would share with you. So I'll post a link to the article, and then I'll just share a picture of one of her pieces up close here. The other thing is I wanted to share this really cool post I saw about spider lilies, because my spider lilies are currently finishing out blooming. Spider lilies are usually one of the last things that bloom in the fall. They're the red. Here we have the variety that's sort of the red. They're like Lycoris radiata, and they bloom once a year, and usually one of the very first signs of cooler weather, so the fall equinox. And what I liked is there's this neat post about some of the lore about them. They're a symbol of reincarnation because the plant dies back and then the flower comes up. They're kind of like the surprise lilies, or the naked lady lilies that my grandma used to call them. They're also known as the flower of the afterlife, and often found around graveyards because people used to plant them to guide souls to the afterlife. Legend has it that the scent of these flowers will bring back the beautiful memories of the dead one last time before they disappear over the forgotten river. Hence why some cultures, they're often used at funerals. It's also believed that if you meet a person you will never meet again, these flowers will grow along their path. So I think that's kind of cool. I shared that on Facebook, and my friend Carol said, we need to start planting spider lilies at cemeteries. We kind of enjoy going to some of these old, more derelict cemeteries that have kind of fallen into disrepair, and so maybe we'll go and start planting some spider lilies. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was my friend Shirley. When she saw Newton, she said, ooh, his eyes kind of freak me out. They're goat eyes. And I said, no, they're not. Goat eyes are slitted. And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, goats have slitted eyes. And I was telling her, you know, not all animal pupil eyes are the same. Cat eyes are slitted, goat, cattle, horses. There's a lot of different eye shapes in the animal kingdom, and it kind of turns out that they're purpose-built depending on what that animal is. And so there's actually a really good article about eye shapes from NPR, and it's an article about the eye shapes began are about have to do with their different lifestyles, because it's funny that some animals, even in the same family, have different eye shapes. So horses and goats, cattle are prey animals. They're grazing prey animals, so they have the slitted eyes so that they have broader peripheral vision, because they need to see, you know, the predator sneaking up on them. Their eyes are also on the side of their head for that reason, but the way their eyes are slitted allows for a broader field of view. Then the animals with round pupils tend to need depth of field, which is like us. We have round pupils and forward-facing eyes because we're technically prey animals, or predators, excuse me. We're technically predators, and so we need depth perception so that we can reach out and get something. So we have the round pupils to control that aperture to be able to have different depth perception. Although it is interesting to note that foxes have a different eye shape than wolves. Cats have a different eye shape. Domestic cats have a different eye shape than big cats, and that probably has to do with the fact that they are small, so they could technically be a prey animal. So what they noticed with the prey animals like sheep and cattle and horses is the pupil, when they lower their heads to graze, their pupil actually rotates to keep that slit parallel to the ground, to maximize their peripheral vision, which I thought was really cool. So goats, Miss Shirley, have slitted eyes so they can get away from the predators. That's why. Newton's pupils here, now whether real Fennec, I need to look up whether real Fennec foxes have round pupils or slitted pupils, but Newton does not have goat eyes, Miss Shirley. He has Newton eyes. Anyway, so I think that's all we're going to talk about this week for science, so let's move on and talk about farm life. Hey everybody, I've been delivering beef orders today, and one of the things I do every time I have a beef processed or every time I get a deer is I donate to our campus food pantry because they don't get meat very often. So I'm taking a bag of meat plus some hot peppers over to donate to the Bare Essentials food pantry, which helps our students and our staff that need a little extra. I got the donation dropped off, and now I'm gonna, before my meeting, I'm gonna head over and see the tapestry display in person. So it's in our student art gallery where like the senior art exhibitions and stuff are held. So the Honors College has it hanging here, and I'm gonna go see it before I have to go to this meeting. Okay, here it is. So let's see who all contributed. It's got the information about it here. And then the high temperature key, or the temperature key. So, first one Leah did it. It was for the founding of the school in 1907. And then here's mine in the very loose gauge that I knit up. And they had the name change. Nursing director when it was renamed State Teachers College. And then UCA renaming. And then the centennial year. And then Donna Bowman did it last year. So what they've done is they've looked at the data, and so we've got the mean temperature here is 73.28, most common temperature 62, number of days at highs above or below freezing and highs above at or above 90. In my year, we went from 73 to 75 as the mean, and number of days above 90 was 116. Then went back down in 67 to 73, still 73. Then most common temperature here, if you look at the median temperatures, they're rising. So the means don't change that much because of the large numbers, but the most common temperature is going up. So it went from 90 in 2018 to when we started, the most common temperature was 62. So that's the median temperature. So there's an equal number of days above that and below that. So anyway, here it is. I'm proud to get to be part of it. You can see how different my gauge is than Leah's. Anyway, that's the tapestry project. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are actually due for possibly our first frost tonight. The temperature is going to get down in the lowish 30s. We're not supposed to get below freezing, but we are going to get down to 33 or 34. And Miss Betsy is actually texting me right now about what she should do with her little blueberry bush. I brought in my turmeric and ginger about a week ago when the night temperature started getting down into the 50s because they really don't like the cold. I have a couple of witch hazels that I bought that are still in pots, so I'm probably going to put them up against the house because the bricks will help keep them a little bit warm. But we are definitely turning toward fall. I've noticed the trees are starting to change color. The leaves are getting crispy. The days are shorter. I mean, it's, you know, it's dark, getting dark now. The day we have less than 12 hours of sunlight right now. I was noticing on my Weather Underground app we're at 11 hours and 32 minutes or something like that. So we're definitely getting into shorter days. I know hunting season is starting this weekend. My friend texted me and said there's a special antlerless hunt this weekend on private land, but I don't think I'm going to be able to go. I do have beef in my freezer now and pork. I bought a pastured hog, and then I had my steers taken to the processor and got those all delivered to the customers, and got those ready. Now, the other thing that's going on right now is we've been working with Bo, as I've mentioned, and I was looking at some video of him. I didn't get to go to the lesson last Friday. I had a meeting that ran late at work, and I wasn't able to get there in time. And then I got a report back Monday that he had spooked or bucked. He didn't spook. He got mad about something. And I talked with my coach, and I talked with my friend Carol, whose opinion I respect in terms of horses. And I kind of already knew the answer to this, but I wanted confirmation. I feel like we're pushing him too fast. And so I had to have kind of I was a little nervous about bringing it up because I don't like to step on people's toes, but at the end of the day, he is my horse, and his well-being is on me. So I just said, you know, he doesn't need to be jumping as much. You've jumped him and jumped him. And I know they enjoy jumping over there, and that's what they want to do. But that comes at a price. You know, the horses get sour. They get burned out. And I don't want him burned out. So I said, you know, please don't do this. And the woman who's riding him agreed with me. She was fine with it. And Miss Marianne wasn't happy, but she was okay with it once I explained my reasoning. Because she does love to jump. But I have to remember he's still very immature in his mental self. His physical self is mature, but his mental, we only started him about a year ago. So we have to remember that he's still learning his job. Flame and Gusty are both good as gold. I had a wonderful ride on Flame on Wednesday. Finally getting together with her on the canter. And I'm not afraid of cantering anymore. I don't have canter phobia anymore. Now it's just getting with her rhythm, and I'm finally starting to find that rhythm, which means we're starting to be able to sustain a nice steady canter for longer, which is wonderful. I'm on a group on Facebook called the English Plus Size Rider. It's for larger women who ride. And it's so heartening to see other women, you know, breaking that barrier where they've been afraid to canter their horses. Because I know that feeling. I've been that way too. After she yard darted me, you know, it took a long time for me to get... I had actually never cantered on her when that happened. We were working up to that. And so it's been a long time coming. But the day is here, and we're doing it, and it's wonderful. I've been saving... seeds from some of my plants. I've got burgundy okra that I saved some seeds from, and some zinnias and some sunflowers, and then I have a wild datura, which datura is jimson weed, and you don't want your livestock eating it, but it makes a beautiful big white flower that blooms at night, and the hummingbird moths love it. So I do encourage it to grow in places where I know that the livestock can't eat it. Right now I have one growing right in the middle of my yard. Just kind of volunteered itself there. But I do plant it in places where the livestock can't have access to it, because it is a nice moth pollinator plant. Fall break is coming up. As I mentioned, it's coming up next week. We get Thursday and Friday off. So my one plan is to get the storage building straightened up and the garage straightened up. My garage isn't terrible, but it needs some work done to it just to get it organized. And I think if I can get the storage building done, then that'll relieve some of the pressure of the overflow in the garage. And also, too, I found the part for my generator. My friend Jason came and looked at it. He's the one that him and Lisa are the ones that I know through geocaching in the fair. And so he came and looked at it and showed me what was wrong. I found the part on Amazon. It's about $400, so I'm waiting on payday. But I will get that ordered, and it's going to be really easy to fix once I get the part. So I'm excited about that. So that's kind of what's going on the farm. The garden is wound down. I really don't have much left out there. I've still got some hot peppers going. I picked a big sack full and took them to work for one of my co-workers twice now, for 2 different co-workers. And I took a bucket to share with everybody. So we're kind of winding down with that. I've got fall vegetables planted. I planted lettuce and kale, cabbage, hot Chinese mustard, and collard greens. So I've got all those planted out here in planters by my house where they're a little bit protected. So those are in now, and I've been cutting back all the dead. I don't cut back everything because I want bugs to have a place to overwinter, but I did pull some stuff out of my flower bed so that I could plant my fall vegetables. And I mentioned about the witch hazels. I've been wanting some of those. So my friend Debbie, who buys beef for me, she found a couple at the local native plant nursery and picked them up for me. So that's kind of what's going on in the farm world, you know, just trying to prepare for winter. I've been doing the weird little cleaning projects you need to do in the house, which has been good. I picked some of the last flowers in case it does frost tonight, so I would get to enjoy those. I tend to not pick my flowers, I just enjoy them while they're outside, but I brought these in so I'd have a little something to remember summertime by if the things do frost tonight. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I'm gonna head out now and do a few final thoughts.
She's a good girl. What a good girl. She's a good girl. That feels so good. That feels a good scratch. Is that a good scratch? Oh yeah, that's a good scratch. Yeah, buddy. Nope. Yep, I'm getting y'all's pen fixed up for this cold weather that's coming. You're a handsome boy. You are too. You are too. You're a handsome boy. Yeah, you're a handsome boy. Well, my neighbor's goats came to visit, so I'm walking them back to their house. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go. Yeah, y'all are friendly. Y'all pretty well know where you're going, don't you? Come on, let's go. Hopefully no cars will come before we get there. Gotta love farm life. Y'all know where you're headed, don't you? Come on. Come on, sissy, let's go. Come on, let's go. You're almost there. Come on, let's go. You getting tired? Let's go. Come on. You're almost there. I'm coming. Let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go. I know. Let's go. Come on.
Okay, so I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about in final thoughts today, and then something happened today that made it very clear what I wanted to talk about. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because it does involve a student's well-being, but suffice it to say, I hopefully have helped a student get the support that they needed in a situation that was kind of a little scary and upsetting for them. And to me, that's part of my job. I mean, I take a little bit of flack from some of the older faculty at times about being too much of a mother hen. But to me, that's my job. I see these guys every day. And by guys, I mean guys in terms of the students. I see these students every day, or almost every day. I see them more frequently right now than their parents do. And to me, it is my job to know when something's off and to be able to provide assistance. And that's part of the reason why I go to these workshops, you know, because mental health issues are prevalent. Now, I get really frustrated about, I have some friends that I love dearly, but they're constantly posting these posts about how weak these millennials are and how worthless they are. And I don't agree with that at all. Proof is in the pudding of like Super Science Saturday, watching my kids volunteer, watching these kids volunteer to go to these schools. I'm sorry, but no, I disavow any of that stuff. It's not true. But they do have more pressure on them, I think, as young people than we did because, you know, social media, you see everybody's highlight reel and you think, what's wrong with my world? And, you know, and people used to, when people would have to be, you know, break up with you, they either had to have the nerve to do it in person or they did it over a letter. They didn't just do it through a text, which seems so impersonal. In a way, we've lost our humanity a little bit. And so it is harder, I think, to be a young person these days. It is harder. The state of the world is scary and difficult. And yes, I know it's been scary and difficult in the past, but we were also scared when we were younger. If things were, you know, I remember sitting in my dorm room watching the planes. They cut to the planes taking off for the first airstrikes in the first Gulf War, and I just started bawling because I thought, oh my God, we're going to war. What's going to happen? You know, so I remember how scared and fragile I felt. And, you know, so I don't ever judge these young people harshly for, you know, speaking up and saying, I need help, or needing help. We probably needed more help than we got. I mean, we were, as one of my friends said, we were the sex, drugs, and rock and roll generation, and the generation before us thought we were worthless. You know, and if I can help one young person, then I've done my job. You know, I'm trying really hard at 50 to be the woman I needed when I was 20. You know, I needed my mother, fortunately, was there for me a lot, but, you know, to have a mentor that is not your family sometimes is helpful. So I'm really trying to be now the woman I needed then. And to help these kids. I mean, they are my kids, whether they like it or not. Even the one that's my age, they're my kids. You know, so that kind of clarified what I wanted to say. And I got to looking for, I was thinking about self-care and self-love and all of that stuff, because I think especially young women go through feeling unsure of themselves and might, you know, and sometimes have a hard time feeling good about themselves. And so if I can help one young woman feel better about herself so that she doesn't have to take until she's in her 50s to feel confident, then good. I'm glad to do it. So I found this blog post. It's called the website is called healingbrave.com, and she put up a post actually not last week, on the 8th, so that would have been Tuesday. And she's talking about reasons to be kind, a poem to open your broken heart. And her blog post talks about, we say don't suffer in silence like it's an easy thing to do, like it doesn't take a world of strength to bring our pain, shame, or fear forward for someone else to see. There is still a stigma with that. There is still a stigma to saying I need help, because we should be stronger than that. We should be okay. We've got, you know, life by the tail. Why are we sad? Why, you know, there's all, but the fact is, none of that matters. If you're needing help, it doesn't matter. Just, you know, so with this in mind, if we could be kind to one another, we could open up a window for someone. We could say, it's okay to hurt. It's okay to be you. It's okay to talk about the things that you're going through in your life. You never know how far one kind word can go. So, what I wanted to read was this poem that is here. Is Reasons to be Kind, a poem to open your broken heart. Be kind, because we're only here for a little while, and we're here together, on the same blue and green planet, under the same deep sky, born of the same mystery and the same things that keep the world spinning. Be kind, because you don't know every ounce of a person's past, or what their future holds. You can hear what they share, but what of the pains and the grief and the fear they don't yet have the voice to bear? What about the cracks in their heart where the light hasn't poured in? What about these sorts of things? Be kind, because there's hidden sorrow everywhere. There are mountains of anxiety too high to climb. There are emotions too raw to be set free. A polite smile is a master of disguise. Even the hardiest people hurt sometimes. There are those who know a dread so deep, an unspeakable depth, as deep as the deepest seabed. There are dreams hiding like pearls within shells of defense. There are shadows fencing people in. Rain falls in the brightest places. So for many of us, it's true that we're stronger than we seem because we're going through so much more than you can see. Be kind because we need your kindness more than we even know. And no matter which side of the fence you're on, no matter how bright or how heavy or how empty your heart feels today, be proud that you're doing what you can to make it through each day. Be proud that you're strong enough to be kind to others even when your own heart breaks inside. Be proud because you're human. Be proud because you're here. Be proud because no matter your past, you never know what the future holds for you. Be kind to yourself too. So, I will leave you with that. Be kind. And I hope that you have enjoyed today with spending a little time with me. I've certainly enjoyed getting to tell you guys about what's going on, and I look forward to visiting with y'all in the comments and on chat and everything. And I will say this, if you ever need someone to talk to, message me. You know, I'm on Instagram, Ravelry, wherever. If you need a friend, I'm out there. Me and Willie I'll be glad to check in on you. And so, until I see y'all again, oh, come on, Willie. Tell everybody bye. Y'all be good to each other. Huh? Your little foot. And take care of each other. What, Willie? Peace out, y'all. Bye. Oh, it's time for bed.